Okay, just in the nick of time, our next speaker has arrived. So I think many of us have already met Maggie Ellis at a couple of our happy hours and meet and greets and things. Maggie is going to be in the runoff on in the May 28th election. So this is kind of critical. Mike already talked about the importance of this May 4th election, which is first Saturday of May, I think, is always set aside for municipal elections and things like that. But we do have also a runoff election from the primary that was held earlier this year. And I think of all of our Democratic candidates, Maggie might be the only one in a runoff. So we've also had as a speaker here her opponent, Edward Smith. So y'all have had a chance to meet him, and now you get to meet Maggie, who was ill the last time, I think, and wasn't able to come and talk at our last meet and greet. So again, from Maggie's website, Maggie survived a childhood marked by poverty, transience, homelessness, and educational deprivation to go ahead and become the only one of her 8 siblings to graduate from college. And she worked as a teacher, a foster mother, a community volunteer. She put herself through law school, driving back and forth from Austin to Waco every day, while simultaneously being the mother of 4 teenagers, and we know what that's like, some of us. As an administrative law judge, a prosecutor, and an attorney representing and defending individuals and families all over Central Texas, Maggie has extensive and relevant experience for this job as a Court of Appeals judge. In her free time, such as it is, I guess, Maggie loves spending time with her friends and family, especially her incredible, kind, and supportive husband, Vic, who's also here today, her children, and her adorable grandchildren. So again, Maggie's running in the May 28th runoff for Texas 3rd Court of Appeals, place number 2, and I'd be happy to introduce and have you help me welcome Maggie Ellis.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and thank you all for letting me be here today, especially on the day that Dr. Mary Fox is here. I cannot tell you, she is, we met on the campaign trail, and I just am so happy whenever I get to see her and her sweet wife, Lisa. I'm actually here campaigning for myself, but I do love Dr. Mary Fox. So yes, a little bit about me. Well, the 3rd court, what do the appellate courts do? The appellate courts help to exonerate wrongfully convicted individuals. They nationally gave us the right to have ownership and to be able to do what we want with our own bodies, which was taken away recently with the Dobbs decision and given to the states. They gave us the national right to gay marriage, which also is being talked about. That might be going away also. The appellate courts are incredibly, I'm gonna step back a little bit, incredibly important to us. So a little bit more about me and why I'm running. I grew up very transient and homeless. We lived in our car, we lived in parking lots, we lived in rest areas. Sometimes we lived in rentals that we would have to leave in the middle of the night. We collected bottles so that we could eat bologna. My mom stopped taking us to school when I was 10 years old. When I was 11 and a half, we were living in our car in New Mexico. I begged her to put me back in school. She brought me home to Texas and left me at a gas station with $5 and drove away. I didn't see her again for 11 years, so I'm the only one of my 8 siblings who's ever attended a university or graduated from college. I graduated from UT with a degree in education, and then I was a teacher and a foster mom, and then I went to law school so that I could advocate for kids and families and individuals who are like me and my siblings. After law school, I practiced in 5 of the 24 counties that the 3rd court covers in Central Texas. I represented and defended people who are at risk of losing their liberty, their homes, and their children. I was hired as a prosecutor here in Travis County, so I was the voice for victims in cases of murder, sexual assault, aggravated robbery. I handled some very serious cases. And then I was appointed as a judge, presiding over federal educational cases. I've handled thousands of hearings in court from all sides, representing individuals, representing the state, and also as a judge. And I wrote the appeals for cases that I tried. I bring tremendous experience to this seat. I also bring a lived understanding of what many people who come before the court have experienced. I'm a very, very good Democrat. I'm a two-time precinct chair. I had to resign when I signed to run. I have served as an officer in 2 clubs here in Travis County. I've been a BDR, I have registered voters. So a little bit about the race. When we got into this race, we were told, stick with Travis County. That's where all the votes are. And my husband and I talked about it and we decided you can't serve people that you don't see. So for the last 8 months, we have driven to all 24 counties, some of them multiple times. In the last 3 months before the primary, we put 20,000 miles on our truck alone, knocking on doors, visiting with people, learning what justice looks like in counties outside of Travis. Justice looks very, very different. A child at 15 is more likely to have their case transferred into the adult system and tried as an adult at 15. A parent is more likely to have their rights terminated rather than being given the services and the opportunity to reunify. And I think it's critical to have that information when you are sitting in an office in Travis County and those appeals come to you from counties outside. We got the most votes in 23 out of 24 counties, and we got the most votes overall. We are going into the runoff with a 9-point lead. We're incredibly, incredibly grateful. We've been endorsed by over 40 local, state, national clubs, organizations, every single young person's group that endorsed in this race. To me, that was such an honor because we don't have enough involvement from young people. And so talking with them and earning their endorsement was very, very meaningful. So the University of Texas Dems, the Texas State Dems, the Austin Young Dems, and the College Dems of the state of Texas. And then multiple every single union who's endorsed this race, the teachers, the firefighters, I think 18 unions have endorsed us. So I'm incredibly grateful to have that support. And my husband is gonna hand out these. I have to brag on him for a minute. You've probably gotten the mints before. If I've been to a meeting where you are, we've handed these out. He has stapled over 6,000 mints onto these cards. He is my strength. I could not do this without him. A funny thing, we will drive. Okay, so we've gone to all these counties. Sterling County is the farthest west. It's about 4 hours from here. There is one gentleman in Sterling County who voted in the last 2 Democratic primaries. In the entire county, one gentleman that voted as a Democrat in the last 2 primaries. We visited Sterling County. We called Mr. Rodriguez twice. And right before he voted, he said, I'm gonna get my girlfriend to vote too. So we won Sterling County 100% with those 2 votes. And we doubled the Democratic turnout. So anyway, so we're putting in the work, but I'm incredibly qualified. I have a demonstrated years and years and years demonstrated commitment to our democratic values. Our civil rights are on the line right now. There's so much at stake with all of our courts, so I'd be honored to get your support. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about my experience or anything like that. So thank you again so much. I have to say really quickly, completely off topic, Mike, his eyes to me look so much like Mac Davis.
It's hard to be humble.
Right? That was so. As we were driving in, Vic was like, "Play a Mac Davis song." So we listened to Lubbock, Texas, in the rearview mirror on the way here as we were driving.
Just in your eye. Just in your eye.
Anybody have any questions for Maggie? How can I get those mints?
Yeah, we're going to come out to you. Oh, and it's got the date of the runoff. That is correct. It is the only thing on the ballot on May 28th in Travis County. In Williamson, Burnett, there's there's some overlap with Stuart Whitlow's race, and then there's a couple of things in Hayes County, but I think in 19 of the 24 counties, it's the only thing on the ballot. The turnout is going to be so low. I can't remember a time where there weren't multiple things on the ballot in Travis County for a runoff. I told my children, I will know if you don't vote because I know what precinct you live in. So thank you all very, very much.
have these two elections in May. It's very confusing. There's only one thing for us. There's only one thing on each of those elections. And on the May 4th elections, a lot of communities have local elections like Pflugerville, school boards and things. But it's only one thing on each of these elections, so they're incredibly important for all of us to get out and vote.